The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost, holds a special place near and dear to my heart. This is the first piece of literature my blurry memories of Estes Elementary School let me recall. I've pondered why. This is the first poem that actually made me think the way poetry is intended to make you think. In a fourth grade class with a teacher straight out of college, Miss Pacheco was inspired to do something for the troublemaking fourth graders that she had to call our class. To make a difference, and the message that she wanted us to understand still sits with me, even 7 years later. The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both. And be one traveler, long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other, as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear, though as for that the passing there had worn them really about the same. And both that morning equally lay, in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way. I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh. Somewhere ages and ages hence, two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. The Road Not Taken has this ringing message that, with my interpretation, boils down to your decision-making skills. Growing up, I always overconsidered. For example, my grandparents had come down from the north to visit, and they had taken us to Toys R Us. Within a reasonable price range, they told us to choose a toy that they would buy us. The spontaneous appearance of decision-making showed up that day, and I had not been ready. I roamed the rows over and over and over. I could choose anything, I kept telling myself, but I ended up getting a book that I randomly passed by. I can't even remember the reason why I chose the book. Just the amount of stress that piled down on me when I was put to even make a simple task of choosing a toy. As you grow up, your decision-making skills are expected to make much bigger ones. To round the story off, I relate to Frost when he hits a crossroad, and the fact that when I'm faced with a decision, I self-consciously choose as fast as I possibly can now, without taking too much consideration into it so I don't end up like I did at Toys R Us that one day. So I won't beat myself up for it later. I've learned to go off gut feelings. Who knows if that's what decision-making really is? So this poem lingers. It lingers in the regards of readers being able to physically place themselves in Frost's shoes. It is a calling to some degree. It's that moment you wish you took the other path, and it stays with you. Frost is calling it out. He says that freedom comes along with choosing the road less traveled by, is something you will never want to come back from. It has the soul of the reader yearning for the taste of freedom that Frost seemed to carry with him at the end of the poem with his realizations. This has to be the reason Frost wrote this poem, to give a taste of freedom to those who need that extra push to get the ball rolling. To inspire and to replicate that feeling over and over by reading this poem could give people a sense and a purpose, just as Frost seemed to exemplify in this poem. David Orr from the Boston Globe claims that this is Frost's most well-known piece of work, yet can also be the most misunderstood. It all boils down to life choices, and the familiarity of indecisiveness that the reader may pick up from Frost may be the reason so many people are drawn to this poem. So, I shall be telling this with a sigh. Somewhere ages and ages hence, two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the path less traveled by, and that has made all the difference.